This is a strip of copper, 16-ounce copper, or about 25 gauge. The first thing that I'm going to do is anneal the copper so that it is softer, more malleable. These are the hammers that I'm going to be using for texturing in this video. And I want to emphasize that you do not need an expensive set of hammers to do the texturing. As you can see, there's nothing special about these hammers. Matter of fact, I made the one on the left and one on the right. If you do a Google search for hammers, you will come up with a wide selection of hammers, many of which are very reasonably priced. I'm going to start out using this hammer. It has the narrowest face of the three hammers. And here I'm hammering against the anvil. And I have some folded up sweatshirt beneath the anvil. That's mostly to deaden the sound. Hammering against the anvil will give you one effect. But if you take a look at the video, Copper Finishes and Textures number 2, you'll see that you can get a different effect if you hammer against a piece of wood, or a hard piece of rubber, or some folded up sweatshirt. Here I'm using the hammer that I'll call the hammer with the medium face. You can see that this is going in with a little broader impression. And the whole intent here is to give as many different looks to our work as possible. Whether it's using a different hammer or hammering against a different surface. And this hammer has got the broadest face. What I like about texturing is that I can get unique impressions quickly and easily. As you can see, the copper is beginning to roll up. Now if I would continue with this, I would want to anneal the copper once again, or as many times as necessary. As you can see, with just a few hammer blows, gone from this strip of copper, which is very plain, on into the texturing, which is very rich and has interest in dimension. This is a 2-inch square piece of copper, measuring in 3/4 of an inch from each side, then scribing some lines. And here I'm using a block of wood. Cover this with a piece of sweatshirt. I want to crease the copper right on the scribed lines. This is a piece of steel that I've ground down to an edge. Placing the ground down edge, the sharpened edge, right on the line. Making sure I've got it exactly where I want it. And then, one good hammer blow. Turning the piece of copper around and doing the same thing on the other scribed line. Now, if you don't have a sharpened edge like I have, you could use a mason's chisel. It has a broad edge on it. And I bought this chisel a couple years ago for about $8 for exactly this purpose. I have annealed this piece of copper once again. I have it on the anvil, and I'm using the thin hammer, or the hammer with the sharpest edge, just texturing right up to the creased line. When the copper has been annealed and has this darkened color, when I'm doing this type of texturing, I'm never quite sure whether I've got it all. I'll wire brush the copper so that I can see what areas I've missed. Then I can go back in and finish it up. Because of the creasing, I got a raised spot here in the middle, which I kind of like in this particular instance. So I'm just going to use a hammer on the anvil and just gently tap this down so that it's flat on the sides. There. I like that raised center section. So I thought I would try a variation on a theme. So I made another piece exactly like the one before. Here I am raising that center section even more, putting it over this 5/16 inch rod. Since the copper is soft, I can use my fingers, my very dirty fingers, to form this around the 5/16 inch rod. And using the hammer, gently tapping this flat. How easy it is just to make a minor change like this and get a new look. And here are some pieces that I've made using the 2-inch square pieces of copper. It is so easy, so simple to get this textured look.